I think that music is a universal language. I think that people are usually opened up and changed by music quicker than any other language. I feel like that's why God created it, to kind of communicate with people on a different level. These words from Kevin Max, formerly of DC Talk and Audio Adrenaline, very accurately describe the power God placed in music. It is easy to see music affecting people. It makes people dance, it makes them emotional, it relaxes them. More than this, however, music can serve as a form of medicine. Music is a gift from God, as Max notes when he says, "I do think music is a gift. It's been a gift since the beginning of time. It's obviously something quite special, magical, supernatural." As Max says, this gift was given to us freely, but to be good stewards of that gift, we must understand how it works. In pursuit of that understanding, it is important to look at music and its effects on the human mind and body. After observing these effects, it will be evident that music therapy should be considered a legitimate option to treat a variety of health conditions. But what is music therapy? The American Music Therapy Association defines music therapy as the use of music to assess social functioning, cognitive skills, communication skills, and physical health, and to help treat any issues in these areas. This help is found in the form of therapist-designed treatment plans, including listening to, writing, and performing music. Music has great power over the human body and mind, and a music therapist uses that power to help a person deal with various problems in either their body or their psyche. Cancer Research UK notes that the beat in music is very soothing to the mind and reduces stress. Listening to music, singing, making music, and writing lyrics are all major parts of the music therapy process. Music has been used as therapy for millennia. It is seen in the Bible when David plays the harp for King Saul. According to the American Music Therapy Association's article, History of Music Therapy, even the ancients, such as Plato and Aristotle, theorized the great power of music. Written references to music therapy began in 1789. The first time it appeared in medical writing was in the early 1800s. The profession of music therapy began after the World Wars, when the effects of music were seen in hospitals. Musicians would travel around the country and play in hospitals to entertain the soldiers, and other effects were noticed. Music as therapy began to be supported by members of the scientific community, such as Ira Altshuler, Willem van de Waal, and E. Thayer Gaston. Music therapy became a college course in 1944 at Michigan State University. The National Association for Musical Therapy was established on June 2, 1950 in New York City. Today, the AMTA has music therapists in over 30 countries, and the professional field of music therapy is currently growing rapidly. To prove the benefits of music therapy, a few terms must be defined. Webster's New World College Dictionary defines physical therapy as treatment of disease, injury, etc., by physical means rather than with drugs. Speech therapy is defined as treatment to help people with problems articulating learn or relearn to pronounce words correctly. Occupational therapy is defined as treatment to aid in enhancing one's ability to perform activities necessary for self-care, education, and more. Music therapy can greatly improve mental and physical health. It can also drastically improve the effectiveness of other therapies. First, music therapy has many positive effects on physical health. God gave music power over the human body, which is easily observable. It can make people become active and move to a beat, or it can soothe people and help them sleep. According to Cancer Connect and Cancer Research UK, it can reduce stress, make the body's organs work more efficiently, and reduce pain. Music therapy is used with cancer patients to reduce their pain and increase their overall comfort levels. Cancer patients are often in excruciating pain. In some cases, no amount of medicine helps. We saw this in the last few weeks of my dad's life. He was put on doses of medicine so high it should have killed him, but he would still writhe in pain at times. It was not until his last few days, when we started music therapy, that he became peaceful. According to studies done by Cancer Research UK, music helps greatly reduce pain in cancer patients and helps keep them calm and peaceful, as we saw in my dad. If we had not had a music therapist and constant music playing, my dad might not have rested at all in the last week of his life. But cancer is not the only physical ailment that music and music therapy help. Imagine someone you love having locked-in syndrome. He or she is completely paralyzed and needs life support, but is completely healthy mentally. Doctors have no cure for the condition. They say there is a 90% chance your loved one will be dead within a few months. Music therapy can give hope where there appears to be none. Music therapist Mary Fair said in an interview she personally worked with a woman who had locked-in syndrome and made a full recovery because of music therapy. Although not much is known about the condition, further research proves that music therapy aids in recovery and may even be able to prevent the condition entirely. While music helps recovery from diseases and disorders, it also helps the physical body work more efficiently, which can help avoid these diseases and disorders entirely. According to Madeline Van, a study involving adults shows that the heart pumps blood more efficiently when regularly exposed to music the listener finds joyful. Health writer Betty Holt notes that music has been used therapeutically for a number of conditions, from improving respiration and lowering blood pressure to reducing heart rate and relaxing muscle tension. It has been used to reduce pain, relieve stress and anxiety, influence mood, and stimulate movement. She says that as music is processed by the brain, it passes through all the parts of the brain that control things like emotion, respiration, heart rate, body temperature, blood pressure, and even nerve endings. Heart rates and breathing patterns have been observed by many doctors to adapt to better match the tempo of music. Dr. Claudius Conrad noted that after 1-hour music sessions for his patients in the ICU, they needed significantly less sedative drugs than before. According to health and fitness writer Nicole Molinari, music helps the body heal faster, improves attention span, and improves one's quality of sleep. Music helps the body in many ways. But music is not only helpful to the physical body. Music therapy also has many positive effects on mental health. Health reporter Abby Swanson writes, music therapy helps one fight off depression just as running or working out. For example, it helps war veterans fight post-traumatic stress disorder. In her article, Music Helps Vets Control Symptoms of PTSD, reporter Abby Swanson notes that before veterans started music therapy, they suffered from things like PTSD, Parkinson's, and substance abuse. One of the men in the group has gone from sleeping 1 hour a night to 5 hours per night since starting music therapy. The Vietnam veteran says that music brings good memories to mind. He also says that he has fewer issues with rage after attending music therapy. Another Vietnam veteran, Joseph Hammond, says that music therapy helped him fight rage and suicidal thoughts. Many organizations have started using music therapy to fight PTSD. Music's power to calm people and strengthen the mind can also be seen in patients with Alzheimer's and dementia. Patients of these diseases struggle greatly with memory, thinking clearly, and often with speaking. Family caregivers often become overwhelmed caring for their loved one. And since there is no cure, family members are often forced to care for their loved one until the person dies. However, music can ease the symptoms and make caregiving easier, according to Mary Geis, who personally used music to treat her father's Alzheimer's. In his book, Musicophilia, neurologist Oliver Sacks notes that music acts like medication for dementia patients. He writes, music is no luxury to them, but a necessity, and it can have a power beyond anything else to restore them to themselves and to others. Behavioral neurologist Jane Flynn compares the effects of music to those of drugs made for the diseases when she says, 21 drugs to treat Alzheimer's have failed in the last 9 years. These non-pharmaceutical approaches are useful. Connie Tameno, one of the current leaders in music therapy, has noted a time she went into a dementia unit to play her guitar and sing for patients who were thought to be catatonic due to the amount of medicine they were on. They responded by moving to the music and singing along. Music therapy also helps fight substance abuse. Van notes that music reduces stress and feelings of loneliness, which are leading causes of relapse in recovering addicts. According to the Recovery Village, a group specializing in addiction recovery, listening to music triggers the neurotransmitter in the brain that releases dopamine, which lessens the urge for whatever the addiction is. Music also raises self-esteem, which is something many addicts struggle with. Another leading cause for relapse is boredom, which music greatly reduces. Joining a drum circle is also an effective way to cure boredom. Not only does drumming relieve stress and cure boredom, but these circles force human interaction, which naturally reduce stress and fight depression. However, music therapy's benefits go beyond the mind and body. Music therapy is also extremely helpful when used alongside other therapies. It is often used in physical therapy to help keep the patient motivated, on task, and energized. At the Baird Nursing Home in New York, music therapist Molly Powell uses music with physical therapy for their residents. She uses small instruments to exercise motor skills and keep her patients on task with their exercises. When the patients play instruments together while doing physical exercise, it engages their minds to prevent mental decline. Physical therapist Nicole Russo uses music with her patients to make the exercises fun. She also notes that her patients are more aware and cognizant when music is played. She works physical therapy exercises into the dances she does with her elderly patients without them realizing they are exercising. She says that when the music is played, patients that are partially paralyzed can move the body parts they normally cannot. Music also helps with speech therapy. The California Learning Society, an organization in which health researchers share their findings, reports that singing encourages breath and muscle control, making it easier to control the vocal cords. It also encourages speech in the form of singing. When those two things are combined, they improve one's ability to articulate and speak well. One example of joint music and speech therapy is the story of an 11-year-old boy named Sam. Sam had severe injuries from an auto accident, and one of the side effects of these injuries was that he had an extreme speech impairment. Sam's tongue was paralyzed, so he had to write to communicate. Sam was referred to joint speech and music therapy sessions. He started with drumming and a speaking valve, a device to help him speak without straining himself. When Sam left the hospital months later, he was speaking in intelligible sentences and able to communicate clearly. Music therapy also helps occupational therapy work more efficiently. According to counselor and behavioral therapist Karen Twifford, there is evidence that music therapy helps with neurorehabilitation. Therapists can use different approaches to help patients express and change emotions, develop social skills, and promote character development. It increased the rate at which the patients performed the exercises, allowing for a faster recovery. Music therapist Leslie Jones writes that music therapists are trained to know how music stimulates the brain and can apply this knowledge for the specific purpose of helping patients to relearn skills essential to daily life. The occupational therapists involved with joint therapy often find the experience productive and seek to repeat the process with new patients. However, not everyone is a fan of music therapy. Some say that music therapy cannot possibly be as effective as other therapies, since it is just music. But the reality is that music therapy can be far more effective and useful. Take the example of locked-in syndrome. If one is unable to move, speech therapy is rendered useless, and both physical and occupational therapies can be painful. However, music has been reported by people with the condition as calling them out of paralysis. Other people may say that rather than spend money on music therapy, they can listen to music on their own with the same results. However, Abby Swanson notes studies that show that attending music therapy sessions does significantly more to fight depression and other mental ailments. This is because music therapists develop every treatment according to what is effective for each individual patient. Not only this, but some insurance providers cover the cost of music therapy. I said earlier that music therapy helped my dad relax, but music is also very helpful to the families of those who have lost loved ones. I have found this to be true while coping with my dad's death. In his last days, UAB's music therapists completed for us what they call the Heartbeat Project. They recorded my dad's heartbeat and then mixed it with an a cappella version of a song they let me choose. I chose the song By Your Side by 10th Avenue North because the lyrics talk about how God is always with us no matter where we are or how we are feeling, which is something my dad always taught me. It was put onto CDs which they gave to us. At the time, this project was special because my dad was a drummer, so it was exciting that his heartbeat would be the percussion in the song. But after his death, it took on a far more important meaning. Every time I listen to the song, I'm reminded of all the special times I had with my dad and all the lessons that he taught me. The song reminds me of the most important lesson my dad ever taught me, that although he can no longer be here and support me, God in his mercy always will be. He will always love and support me just like my dad did in his life. The Heartbeat Project has been an incredible gift to my family, and without music therapy, this great blessing would never have been an option. Music therapy has an almost unlimited number of ways to help people. The few that have been demonstrated here are only scratching the surface of what it can do. The potential for music therapy is exciting. God provided us with music for many reasons. The most obvious reason is to praise Him through it, but we also have it to enjoy for ourselves and to help us deal with pains and illnesses of this world. Since God gave us music, we are obliged to seek to understand and learn about it. Because of these things, Christians and non-Christians alike should consider music therapy a legitimate and useful form of therapy that can be used to help many conditions. Now is the time to make music therapy well known, since it is a steadily growing field. If we do, we may see much more effective treatments for both mental and physical ailments in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. What type of music is best for the type of, What type of music is best for the music therapy you described?
It all depends on the patient. For me personally, I really enjoy rock and metal, and so those would be the two most effective genres for me. But other people may like country or jazz or any other genre, so it really just changes with each person.
Does your research suggest that music performed by a live musician has greater therapeutic impact than simply playing a recording for patients?
I really didn't look into that. I was mainly looking at the overview of what music does as a whole.
Do you think that since the original purpose of music was to worship God, that it is no coincidence that it can be used in therapy?
I think that there is definitely a correlation because when we praise God, that brings out joy in us because we're doing what we were created and intended to do. And so when we use music to help ourselves, I think it also glorifies God because we are using it to help us so that we can better serve Him.
What kind of music helped your dad?
Towards the end of his life, it was lots of slow music, like the types of music you would find on Christian radio stations. But up before then, he really enjoyed rock as well.
A lot of people are curious about the kinds of music used in music therapy, so that's why I'm skipping some of these. Are there any kinds of music that are dangerous or unhelpful to use in music therapy?
I wouldn't say that there are as far as genre, but I think that you definitely have to be wary of the message of music if you're not using exclusively Christian music, because the message in music is just as powerful as the music itself, and it has a very powerful influence on people. It can change people and make them change their way of thinking. So you need to be very careful and cautious about what you're listening to.
Thank you, Matthew.